legends, g'day superstars. It's Peps, it's J-Dog. And it is our review of week 2 of the AFL finals. And I'm your host, Christopher Pepper, 377-game superstar of the East Keilor Football Club and a very, very dejected Melbourne supporter. I've got the great man. He'll be joining me shortly, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis, but it is unfortunate that we have to get the show off to a bit of a somber note with the D's, unfortunately, going down over the weekend, and the Doc is doing likely so. But we're down to the final four. It's all kicking off. Fabulous Phil's joining me. Great to see you, great man. Ex-Presidente of the East Keilor Football Club, joining me just to have a bit of life and giving me some support on a very hard episode to record, knowing that my team won't be there to defend their 2021 Cup. But we've got 4 cracking teams. I'm going to lighten it up a bit. We've got 4 cracking teams, 2 awesome games this weekend. We've got 3 games to go, 2 this weekend, 1 final weekend coming up. It's grand final time, baby. If you can't get excited for footy right now, listeners, nothing will get you excited because this is the time. Preliminary final weekend. It is the weekend everybody loves, everybody wants to be part of. It is the fans' weekend before all the corporate snobs take over grand final tickets and give them to their aunties or uncles who don't even follow footy, but they're worth a couple of bucks. This is going to be the weekend that you're going to be excited for. Preliminary final weekend. But hey, listen, before we get into all that, thanks for everybody listening again. Another cracking week last week. Everybody's on the chat again. It's going to be massive. I know it's going to be. Everybody out there in podcast land having a listen to us right now, thank you very much for joining us. Only a couple of episodes to go, so hopefully your team is still in it. If it isn't, hey, welcome me to the club. Throw your arms around me. Support me as we head into the next season. But, hey, 2 cracking games on the weekend that we went to. I was fortunate enough to go to both of the games. I went to the Friday night one, obviously, to watch the D's take on the Lions. Nothing short of a disappointment, but awesome footy played by the Lions. Cannot fault them whatsoever, and I'll get into that very, very shortly. Ran into the Saturday game to see the Pies and Fremantle. I was very boyish for Fremantle taking that one out, but I can tell you, after watching Collingwood live, as the monkey said many, many years ago, I am a believer, yes, I am. They played some brutal footy. Speed kills, not just on the roads, but on football ovals around the country. And Collingwood did exactly that to the Fremantle Dockers. I'll get into that a little bit later on, but I want to get into spinning some magnets. I want to get these ones out. I've got a couple of key things I want to recap for the weekend. But for the people in the chat and joining me, hey, tell me what you like. Tell me what you feel. Ask me anything that you want at this particular moment in time, and I'll be happy to answer your questions as we lead into another weekend of finals football. All right, let's start with the let's get a bit of Barassi action. What do you reckon?
Bloody weak as piss.
All righty, so first one I want to drag is the Melbourne Football Club coaching team. I'm looking at you, Adam Uze. I'm looking at you, Mark Williams. I'm looking at you, Big Greg Stafford. I'm looking at you, Troy Chaplin, and I am especially looking at you, Mr. Simon Goodman. Why did it take for you to get to the 10-minute mark, 10 minutes to go in the last quarter, to finally swing a change up forward to a forward line that had been putrid for goodness knows how many weeks? And for the first time in many weeks, 2 months I'd even say, the forward line actually looked like they had a target in Mr. Petty up there. Mr. Petty. We love Mr. Petty. And the fact that he was clunker marks, roving his own ball, goal assists, just goes to show that he's not just an awesome backman. He can be a cracking forward. Going back to 2019, we had something to see there, but we've moved him down back. We've gone with Ben Brown. We've gone with Team Wack. The guy's only 21 years of age. I reckon he has a massive chance to be pushing himself up to the forward line with Jacob Van Ruin next year and Tommy Mack as a support episode. And then you've also got the amazing Bailey Fritsch, and then Pickett and Spargo at his feet. That's something a little bit excited to be about. But why did you take so many weeks to get on? It was absolutely putrid, and it cost us in the end because our targets were awful for the last 2 months. After round 10, our forward line was absolutely putrid. I'm not just going to leave it at my team. I'm going to throw it to the other team that lost on the weekend, the Fremantle Dockers. Continually going backward and slow game plan is not going to win finals footy. it's not worthy, and you look substandard compared to a team that was willing to take it on at any particular moment in time. Speed kills, through the guts, open forward line, don't care how it gets in there. Once it gets in there, they scored, and that's what Collingwood did to you and tore you and you on. That game was over at quarter time, and you were able to get some junk time stuff later in the game to bring it back a little bit. But that should have been a 10-goal win to the Collingwood Football Club. And last but not least, my best mate over the entire year is Jamie Wallis, but the other one I love to have a chat about is the umpiring. How bad was the umpiring on the weekend? The umpiring of this final series has been nothing short of pathetic. Putrid, disgusting. I don't even know what's in a free kick anymore. Is too high being paid anymore? No. Is dropping the ball, holding the ball being paid anymore? No. In the back? No. Hands in the back? No. You can literally do anything these days, and the umpires put the whistle away. And yes, we do like it when they don't pay as many, but bloody hell, can you pay the obvious ones? And for the ones that are Ticky Touchwood, leave them alone. There were so many hands in the backs, so many push in the backs, so many head highs on the weekend that were not paid. It's ruining a potential awesome final series. The football in itself has been magnificent. The umpiring needs to get themselves up to that type of standard as well, because it has been absolutely putrid. All right. I want to give some votes out as well too, though, because Andrew Demetrio has ripping this out for us for potentially the second last time of the year.
3 votes.
All right. Let me have a look at the first 3 voter for today. Okay. So what we'll do is David Mundy. I went and watched this guy live on the weekend, and obviously being a Fremantle player, we don't get to see him come over here and play your team all that often. But my goodness, he was one of their best, 35 or 36 years of age, 376 games, one behind the great man. You know, we're talking about CJ Pepper. He averaged 20 possessions across his career. He was a club captain, all Australian, best and fairest, all class, and got the farewell that he deserved. Players from both teams getting across, lining up for him, giving him the round of applause. He was sensational. And there's many clubs out there that should get him in to set the standards for their club. North Melbourne, if you were smart, you would get him over to your club to show those young players that you've got at your disposal what class is and how to prepare like a true AFL member and AFL footballer as well. Delta Goodwin singing the national anthem. Now, if that didn't get a riser when you saw the big DG get on side, when she came out and got her pipes opened up for the Australian national anthem, nothing will. I'll tell you one thing, though. Watching Delta sing, I would spin in my chair for her. If I spin style in a jumpsuit, that is, I'd press the button because she is an absolute star, and that's probably the best rendition of the Australian national anthem that I've heard live. And by jingo, by crikey, I heard a number of those over the last 10 to 15 years watching the AFL live. She is amazing, Donna Jovanovic, and we know that you're amazing as well too. Oh, quick shout out to Donna J, daughter on the weekend, and also her friend as well. Getting their brown belts in karate. I was there to watch it live. It was amazing. Georgie did a fantastic job. Lots of love. I said it was here, and it was absolutely brilliant to see. And the last one that I want to give out, my last set of votes, I've said it earlier. I've said a little bit more. Finals footy at the MCG. It's nothing better than that. You can have your up the stadium. You can have your Jabba the Hutt. Adelaide Oval, you're a poor man's substitute. The MCG is where footy needs to be, and that's where finals footy lives. But you know who's also living? He's back. The kids are in bed, and that means the big fella's joining us. Jamie the J-Dog Wallis, welcome, my friend. Here he is. The people have been asking, Jamie, where are you? You finally put the tin lids to bed. How you going, big fella?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for, I've got shit on my face here from eating tea whilst I'm trying to put kids to bed. It's all going on.
Oh, that might be good. Dribble. That might be dribble after you hearing that, because I Picker might be on his way to Port Adelaide.
Well, I did tell you, Peps. I said we're going to get him.
Yeah, you are, but you're not. How you going? How's your weekend been?
I'm going all right. I've got shit on my face. It's all good, though. Love it. Good weekend. What a cracking weekend of football.
Shit weekend of football,
No, it
Jamie.
started great. It started brilliantly for me. Peps, I'm going to say it. We're glad you're back. We're glad you're back.
I think Eminem said it best. Back to reality. Whoop.
Yeah.
Gravity. Whoop.
It was great because you were up and the game should have been done. You lost, but then you gave the fans what they wanted, Peps, and that was a live video.
You get the rant?
With you and Dana and
Big Trev.
And Big Trev.
If Big Trev even threw it with a shit house out.
I'm probably disappointed, Peps. I was going to rate that video of where you've been and where we are today. Mm-hmm. It's very controlled, Peps, around your parents. You're very controlled.
Oh,
I've seen you kick bags across your garage floor. I've seen you get whiteboards out. I've seen you over the time get yelled at by Railsy when you're giving your video reviews. I've seen you talk about Bunnings. I wanted more, Peps. I think people wanted more.
You know, I was surrounded by people when I rolled that one out. I was walking down a main road with Melbourne supporters all around me.
Oh, that's right. I've seen you in the car on the way home in the car park screaming and Mary at the back's yelling at you, telling you to be quiet and keep calm.
I think I just didn't know what to say because I was truly shocked at what I saw. But I will say, we'll get into the games in a moment, but I'll say it now, it is the best thing that could have happened to my football club.
It was pretty good for the rest of us as well.
Yeah, I know, it was pretty good for you. I know you couldn't wait to bring it up. You even did send me a message to say how I'm going. I've been getting nudes even threw one at me. A few people have been throwing them at me saying, how am I going? Good to see Jazzy Ruboy is just giving me some stick about how those D's going. Ben Brown needs the chop. I'm amazed he hasn't even given me the old, I told you Melbourne were going to lose to the Lions. They were sensational, Brisbane. To kick 70 points after half-time against the number 1 or 2 backline in the league, just goes to show there wasn't much pressure getting the ball out from the middle. I just think Melbourne, my humble opinion, they were cooked. When you're seeing a lot of your players with tape on, you start to get a bit worried. And there's a lot of players I saw running around for the D's that had tape on themselves. When I saw that, I wasn't too confident. They kicked themselves out of the game early on.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. It's as simple as that. We've lost your camera, J-Dog. I don't know what you're doing.
My camera's died, has it?
Yep, your camera's died.
Sorry.
Just like your football club. But let's have a look at some of the games. Look, let's get stuck into the games because I know that's what we're here for. That's what the listeners want to know.
Yep.
So I've just mentioned before, Ella and Georgie, congratulations on getting your brown and blue belt karate grading on the weekend. I said to Donna J when I saw her, I'd give them a shout out, and there it is. So everybody give them a thumbs up. They were sensational. Right, let's get into the footy, J-Dog. Let's start with the Friday night game. We know it was the D's losing to the Brisbane Lions by a whopping 13 points.
Hey, Peps. Does that mean you guys went out in straight sets?
Yes. We're James Bond 000.
You definitely had double O agents.
Double O agents, and we are a Grand Slam. We are a Stan Stozer.
Peps.
We did go straight sets. I said it.
We've got lots of Geelong supporters who listen to this podcast.
Yep.
We know that.
Yep.
I feel this is time that you have to give them an apology.
For what?
After you saying many, many years, this is what Geelong does, straight sets, they can't compete, they can't sizzle under the finals pressure.
Yep.
I think it's time to come clean and maybe
Why?
apologise.
We did it once. We've done it once. When we do it multiple years in a row like they have, then I will apologise. But we've done it once.
You've got to eat your humble
You're only
pie.
as good as your last premiership, and technically we are still the premiers until 2 weeks' time. So
000. No,
in a couple of weeks, all the pictures behind me will be down. They'll be on sale on eBay.
Hey Peps,
as I'm clearing the walls
can
for
I see you
2023.
Can I see you in those in that crowd behind you of those pictures on the wall? Oh, that's right. You guys haven't won an MCG Grand Final for 64 years, whatever it is now. That's right. All right, it doesn't matter.
58 years.
It doesn't matter. So Peps 0-0. I mean, it's pretty sensational, isn't it?
Oh, it was pathetic.
Oh,
it was pathetic.
great.
But like I said, I think it's the best thing to happen to us, and I'll go into that very, very shortly.
All right.
I do want to talk about something, and I want to talk about this game because, like I said, in that first quarter, Melbourne kicked 3 goals, 6. That game should have been over at quarter time. And what is my mantra, Jamie? What have I said from day dot? Every time we talk about games, every time we talk about losses, what do I say?
Kick it to Ben Brown.
I've never said that. Bad kicking is bad football.
You do say that.
That was bad football. You're not going to win it. You could just see it. You could just, everyone in the Melbourne supporters were just shrinking. The MCC, you could just see the cheese boards were just getting a little bit tighter. Mm-hmm. The Gouda was getting a little bit softer. every time a point went through. And when we kicked 3 goals, 6, we thought we were in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah.
They were playing exciting. For the first 20 minutes of footy that they played, we haven't seen them do that all year.
No. It was great football. You guys are playing very good in the first quarter, and just the poor kicking. That's all.
But they were switching. They were going through the middle. It was everything. And then for whatever reason, they went back to this defensive model, and it was putrid.
Yeah.
Brisbane, I think, got their bearings toward the end of that quarter. And then, I reckon about 10 minutes into the second quarter, you could start to see things shift a little bit as well too. Hipper was playing sensationally. I thought we were a sure thing when Danaher went out.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Lachie Neale wasn't getting much of it early. Brisbane looked stunned. Melbourne looked like the Melbourne that we were used to.
Yeah.
But then, as the quarter wore on, we saw the Melbourne that we saw in 2022. The pressure dried up, the run dried up, the defensive aspect of the game came straight into it. We didn't take the game on, and they did the complete opposite. And they kicked a couple of junk time goals. They kicked 5 goals after the 28-minute mark. Now, I've also said that Melbourne always give goals up in the last minute of a game. Stick it in your multi, you'll win a Monty. And they went into half-time. Melbourne was still in front. You thought, here we go. They'll come back in the second half. But unfortunately, Brisbane did the complete opposite. I don't know what Fagan put in their Powerade at half-time. I know Cam Bruce gave him a massive spray. But it was the Melbourne of 2022 to a T. What happened in week 2 exactly happened in week 1. So it didn't surprise us, but they were just amazing. And Eric Hipwood was just absolutely sensational. For a guy who's been much maligned over the last number of years, and not playing
I've given him
finals
stick.
footy. We've all given him stick. Harris Andrews had 18 1-percenters. That's how well he played. There were a couple of times he should have taken marks and he punched through, so there was that nerves early on. Lachie Neale is a gun. And it's funny when we were quite fortunate to sit right on the fence, and so we're able to see the game up close. And there was a passage of play, it's been played where he almost bursts through the middle, rolls over, dishes a handball out to Berry, and ends up going through for a goal. That was right in front of us. And I just said, this guy is a machine. He's running capacity. You have a look at Berry, put the tag on Oliver, because at that stage, Oliver was just ripping him a new one.
Well, that was it. You guys failed to do anything after Berry went into the midfield after half-time. Oliver was unsighted again.
Well, hold on. What did you say again?
Well, Oliver, for sure. He can't handle the tag.
He can't handle the tag before that game.
Like you say with Dacos. You say, put a tag on Dacos. I'm saying the same thing. Put a tag on Oliver.
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't get tagged. He's been tagged, I think, 3 or 4 times this year. And Sydney game didn't go too well. The Fremantle game, Petrarca wasn't too flash that day, so he actually was able to take refuge of it. He got tagged by Ace that day, and he got tagged out of the game. I didn't see Berry taking that on. Charlie Cameron finally kicked a goal against the D's in the past 2 games. It was shocking.
Yep.
They were just
Gay has raised a very good point. Petrarca was the first quarter. I'm like, this guy is Mr. Universal. Like, he's just gonna run through walls. Universal Soldier.
He was.
Second half, just cooked. Done.
You know what, Jamie? I reckon that if you summed it up, I reckon they were cooked. They had 7 games this year where they had leads of over 4 goals and lost. 7. If they'd won 2 of those, they would have finished top of the ladder.
Yeah. But halfway through the season after the bye, we saw a different Melbourne come out.
Yeah, it was a different Melbourne. I think that Melbourne got lazy.
Well, you started the season 10-zip. What a cracking start to the season.
I know, but Jamie, things happen. Like I said, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Yeah, it was the first 10 weeks. It was magnificent. Can't fault them. 10-0. But I mentioned, and you remember I said this, that Melbourne are a bit of a false economy. I mentioned it many, many weeks ago. I even rang up 3AW after the Fremantle loss and told them they were a false economy.
Stop harassing
That was when we were 10-1. I said it. And it came to roost in the back end. The forward line wasn't functioning. It was too much of a defensive mindset. Teams could tell you, it was almost, you watched everybody on the ground would go, watch Melbourne kick left. My mum, I was sitting with Dana, front row at the MCC members, and she goes, watch him kick left, Chris. She even knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, there was no creativity. They played one debut player this year. They were the players. That type of game style takes the absolute bejesus out of it.
Yep.
It's taxing.
And this year, I mean, the media's a report on it, but Melbourne has played a bit more of a selfish brand of football as opposed to what it was last year, where it was a complete team in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Forwards got a bit hungry. Midfielders getting a bit hungry for goals, where there was better options on.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but you've also got to look at it the other way. If you're not kicking goals, you're trying to do it all yourself, especially like a Fritsch who kicked another 50 goals for the season.
Yeah, good season.
Good season. Pickett's come out with another 40-plus season for his third, 2 out of his last 3.
How about Ben Brown? What's he kicked?
Nothing. 28, I think. It wasn't much. But yeah, it was tough to watch. Too many injured players. I would hope that they make some coaching panel changes. I would hope that they make some personnel changes. They've got the capabilities to swing a few things around. Like I said, Petty up forward will be good. Turner, we busted his cheekbone. He only played a debut this year. He'll be in next year. They've got Bose, who will probably play on the wing next. So they've got some kids to come in, which is good. Jacob Van Ruin up forward. So they've got some, but they've got to play them. And I think they need to be a little bit more brutal at the selection table, not just playing players on reputation.
So what changed, Peps? What changed from 3-4 weeks ago when you guys belted them up there?
It's another 3 weeks of footy, J-Dog. Brisbane had belief. We didn't have belief.
But to come back from, what was it in the end, a 70, 60 point thumping up there or something like that?
68, I think, something like that.
To come back into play at the MCG, facing an elimination, to have a horrendous record since 2014. There's no wins at the MCG for Brisbane Lions since 2014. To come back and do that against a team that finished second, started 10-0, that is a remarkable comeback. And I know we're talking about a team that's finished top 4 still. Sorry, that's just outside. But a remarkable comeback to do that.
Yeah. But I'll throw some of these stats at you, and this will blow your mind when you hear some of these. So let's just have a look at some of this, all right? Melbourne's efficiency inside 50 was 52%. All right, free kicks were 19-22, pretty much balanced. But have a look at this. Melbourne led the hit-outs, 48-33. The clearances, 51-37. The centre clearances, 14-11. The stoppage clearances, 37-26. The contested possessions, 156-137. The turnovers, they had 2 more turnovers. And they led the game for 88 minutes, 25 seconds. Brisbane led it for 30.
Yeah.
From a possessions perspective, Brisbane had a lot more uncontested. But it just goes to show that you can win every stat on the park, which means nothing if you can't put it through those 2 big sticks in the middle of the ground. And that's what they didn't do.
Yep. And that's the beauty, Peps. We spoke about it last week. That's the beauty of the 666. That's the beauty of the stand rule. It's the beauty of all of that. Freeing the footy up, not allowing players.
Do you honestly like the stand rule? And don't give me yes or no based on being a smart aleck, because I know you can do that to roll me up a bit. But do you like the stand rule?
I don't have an issue with it. The one I get an issue with, and I spoke about it last week, is when the players get duped into half a step where it has no impact on the play.
Yep.
That's the one that gets me. But other than that, I have no issue with it now. It looked dumb when it first started. But now it's just a matter of just standing there. Just stand there. It frees the footy. It does free the footy though. We can't lie about that. You have more players running past for a handball receive or taking off on the mark. Or having the ability to come inside for a 45
I just don't
kick.
like the stand, all that sort of stuff. Oh, God, it does my head in.
Peps, overall, what a game. Great game to watch.
Mate, like I said, Neil was sensational.
Yep.
Berry was awesome. Harris Andrews, once again, towed up a Melbourne forward. Yeah.
McCluggage, Rich, they all came through.
Rich, they just their second win in a row. That was better than the week before against Richmond, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Better win.
I think so.
Especially when they haven't won there since 2014, 11 in a row. To come out and do what they did. No Danaher. Do you pick Danaher this week? That's another question for another day.
Yeah.
I might have a chat about it later in the week when we get into
Melbourne do what they could do, though. I mean, Langdon, once again, sensational off the half-back line. He provides your team with so much run, so much attacking opportunities through the half-back line.
But they didn't use him. That's the thing. They don't use him as much as they should.
They did in the first half. He was sensational.
First half.
Yeah,
Game's
Harms was strong.
Out again.
Harms was strong in the contests.
Yeah.
Oliver, as you said there, until he got tagged at half time. Neil Bullen, another good one.
Don't.
Come on,
No.
you don't like what?
No.
No.
If Big Trev was on here right now, I reckon he'd punch the screen looking at you because he cannot stand him and woeful.
Really?
Nah, woeful.
2 goals and don't like him.
No. No. He's a shell of his former self. No.
Tough crowd.
Yeah,
all right.
We are a tough crowd. That's what we are. We have to be tough. We have to be brutal, Jamie. You know, it's like the podcast community. They'll tell us if we're doing a good job and they tell us if we're doing a shit job.
That's true. They
Most
do.
of the time they tell us we do a good job because we love our lazy outlaws. All right.
62,000 peps on a Friday night for a final.
Yeah, good.
Good number for a Melbourne.
Well, I would say so, considering Melbourne have 65,000 members.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
I think it's 65.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was all right.
It's Brisbane. It's an interstate team. I know they've got a base, but 65. If you have a look at the next game, which was Collingwood and Fremantle, and they got 90, they've got 100,000 members. It sort of fits. I can tell you now, here's the thing though, J-Dog. The MCC was packed to the gills. It was chocker, balaka. It was chocker. And on the Saturday night, same thing. It was packed.
Yeah.
Packed. And I've never seen so many people cheer a national anthem after Delta finished. I said earlier I would press the buzzer and spin in my seat for her. She is she's a cheeseburger stunner.
So, Peps, on review.
Yep.
Melbourne, you're calling for some coaches changing. You're
Yep.
some game plan needs adjusting.
Has to.
You're calling for a forward that has to come into your squad.
Yes.
You're calling for a backup ruckman now that Luke Jackson is nominated to Western Australian club.
Since when?
Since today.
What?
I know, surprise, hey, shock.
Surprise.
So, so is that what we're looking for? Is that shopping list? A backup
shopping
ruckman
list.
and a forward.
Shopping list would be another winger with some good kicking skills.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we miss. Our disposal efficiency is poo.
Yep.
I need someone who knows a forward craft. I'd like another half forward who can actually kick goals. I'll take a Gunston. Even though he's 30, I'd still take a Gunston.
I'll take Gunston too. Yep. So you're saying...
we need a fast defender because Hibbard's gone.
Yep. So you're saying you're do the podcast patron saint Ben Brown dirty and saying he needs help.
Well, he needs to eat a steak. Or something.
Kick goals, take mark.
It just looked like, unless it was lace out, couldn't do much. He's not a contested beast. We need a contested beast in the air. Harrison Petty, I reckon, is the guy that can do that. So if they get him, we need a big guy down back. Mitch Georgiades would be a perfect fit for our forward line. That would be nice.
Why don't you guys just play Melksham more often?
Jamie, let's talk about the Saturday night game. Now let's talk about this game. Can I say something? I went to this, and I spoke to the listeners before we came in.
Yeah.
This was over at quarter time. Absolutely over at quarter time. Even though there was only 23 points of difference, there was no way. No way. So they won by 20. It should have been 60. That's when a scoreline doesn't justify the type of game it was.
Yeah, it's a snooze fest, this one.
And I don't know what I can say. As a club, I don't like Collingwood. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think many people like Collingwood unless you're Collingwood.
Yeah.
I will say one thing though. I am jealous of the way they play their football.
Yep.
And I'm jealous at the passion and the atmosphere Collingwood bring to every game.
Yep.
I will say one thing though. They may want to change their name from the Collingwood Magpies to the Collingwood Cyclops. Because they are all so one-eyed, it is not funny. Like, if Lee Harvey Oswald was a Collingwood player, they said no, he did not shoot JFK. No. He dove. He took a dive.
It's part of the drama.
I was sitting with one of my mates who was back a few seats, And a couple of other decisions, I just turned around and looked at him, and he laughed and I laughed, and our eyes connected, and it was a beautiful thing because it was just so parochial the way that they support. But my goodness gracious, they're passionate. It was one of the best atmospheres of a game that I've been to. It's the biggest game I've ever been to where there's been one club like a 90,000.
Yeah.
90,000 people there. Charlie Keegan's rent. You want to feel the atmosphere that Collingwood bring? Go to your local Centrelink. Yeah, but they're all spread out, Charlie. They're not all in the one place. They were just, it was awe-inspiring. And when they get that Collingwood chant going, I know we hate it, but it does get the hair on the back of your head standing up. But the way they play their footy, Jamie, like, it wouldn't have mattered. If we'd won last week and we played Geelong, we'd get smashed.
Yeah.
They're going to be good against Sydney this week. I still think Sydney will take it out because of the SCG. They're not going to have as much room to work, but they spread hard, they run fast, they run the space, they're fit, they're two-way running. It's basically looking like red and blue jumpers from 2021 in black and white jumpers in 2022.
Come on.
No, I'm literally saying that the way you look at how we finished last year and just how we ran our games, they are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They do little things. Jamie Elliott, smallest bloke potentially on the field, they'll just sit him at full forward. They'll sit him at centre half forward. He doesn't go all the way. So the backman has to go, well, if I go too far up to make it a squeeze into our forward line, if it goes over the back, we're screwed. So that it puts them in two minds. They were just sensational. And, Charlie Keegs has written Craig McRae is the coach of the year and it's not even close. Well, at the moment, he's into the final four. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with that at all. I will say, though, Charlie, if they lose this week and Fagan's Brisbane Lions beat the Cats, I'd almost say Fagan could be coach of the year. I'd almost go that far. But I reckon he has been sensational, Craig McRae. Brody DeGrundy, I'll call him Jordan DeGuy. Jordan DeGuy, he was Jordan dominant on the week. Jordan DeGoey, I'll put it anywhere. He just bursts. I've picked on him a lot over the years, but Darcy Moore, my God, like the way he just strides out. These are things that because you're always looking at your team, you're not looking at them. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yep. Elliott's amazing. I watched Ginnivan. He just gets himself in the right position. Great game.
Way better than the week before.
Just play footy, son. If you just play footy, you can be anything.
Check, another solid check. Forward Kraft, 2 goals to him. Could have been more.
Coxie kick one. They started the USA chant. Almost had to slap someone. It was just, they were just brilliant. From a Fremantle perspective, too slow. They go backwards all the time. Something's going to have to change for that mob to take. Now, they're going to have Jackson next year. Yeah. But they're going to be losing a lot as well, too. That's the thing that you've got to look at. There's probably 4 or 5 players that played that night that won't be there next year.
Well, Lob is one of them.
Lob, Griffin Logue.
Yeah. And you look at that and you go, their best players was Griffin Logue, kicked 2 goals. Schultz kicked 2.
Schultz was the only one keeping him in the game in the first half.
Correct.
Their only first 2 goals. So Dino Pellegrino of Approved Plumbing was his ex-boss. Good mate of mine. You set him far in his career.
Peps, and when you looked at the game, Collingwood completely shut down the centre corridor for Freo to run into. So every kick was down the line, and essentially just turned into the Darcy Moore show back there.
Do you know what they do, right? This is what I watch from Collingwood's perspective. Collingwood will go wide out of the back line, and they get between the wing and their back flank. If that makes sense. When they get in that sort of pocket, straight to the middle.
Yes.
So take it wide, defend, but then they've got no hesitation to bring it into the guts. And even if it's a bad kick, they know that they've got players there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, they don't play safe.
And it just means that they get it into the forward line quicker. It means that the small forwards can run onto it. It means that the tall forwards can take a mark. It means that my check can lead out. There's so many options when you're quicker because it puts the defence on the back foot.
And to quote every country footy league coach out there, that kind of footy is high risk, high reward. But the high risk is if you do turn it over in the centre of the ground, all your players are streamed forward, it's going to go straight back over their heads into a goal.
It's high risk and it's high reward.
For them at the moment, it's coming off.
Even if they risk it, they don't care because they know that the players are going to be there to support it. And it also catches the other team off guard.
Correct.
Even though you know it's coming, you still can't defend it because if your players aren't fit enough to go with the one. So, yeah, absolutely sensational they were on the weekend. Very jealous of the way that they're playing. I reckon they're playing better football than Geelong.
Yeah. What was I reserve? I don't know. Best of Fremantle was Sarong. Better Brayshaw. We'll go with that joke all year.
You keep going with it, and I'll still keep laughing at it. Exactly right.
Ryan wasn't the best. Schultz and Akers were the best.
I'd agree with that. Akers is not going to be there yet. They reckon he's going to go to Carlton next year as well. So there's just a lot of movement going as well too. Here's another thing I noticed about Collingwood.
Mm-hmm.
Their kicking efficiency in front of goal.
Are you going to say it's good or bad?
They had 11-13 on the weekend.
Yeah.
Normally it's a lot better than that. So I'm going to take that stat back. But normally they are very, very good in front of goal.
Well, the first quarter they were 4-0 and then they kicked 6 behinds in the second plus a couple more goals.
That's probably what threw it out. And I'll also say that Brisbane were also nailing their set shots. So I know set shots is one of those things that they don't want you to practice. Just kick them. Just go ahead and practice set shots. 30 yards out. You don't have to be any further than that because they're the ones that most people miss.
Mm-hmm.
You practice that, you're in a good spot. So if I said the best 4 teams made the last 4 weeks, I would say 3 of those 4 teams, Brisbane, but they were the best over the last couple of weeks. And that's what it's all about.
Yep.
And so we've got a final 4. We've got Geelong, Brisbane Friday night, which I will be going to. And then we've got Sydney, Collingwood on the Saturday night, which is just 2 cracking games. And so for those 4, your year is still ripe and ready. And for the rest of the league, that means you've got something else to look forward to, which is this.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money.
Oh, yeah. Bling, dollar bills.
Bling, 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 that's the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
You know what, J-Dog? Don't know if you heard, but there's some trade news coming through.
A little
I don't have
bit.
the contracts, but the trades are starting to kick in. And I think it's time that we have a bit of a chat about this because we put it off for a couple of weeks.
Just a quick one.
No, it's not a quick one. There's so much news come out over the last few days. We've got to belt through some of them. All right, let's go through them all. The big one it's been brewing for months and it's finally come out. Yes, it is. It's Lukey Jackson has requested a trade back to WA. And you know what? He's won a flag. He's not going to win another one at Fremantle, so he might as well go back for the big bucks. Anything from the range of 800 to 900 a year over 6 or 7 years. That's big coin at the age of 20 to say no to.
Totally agree.
Totally agree. So
and it's been on the cards for as long as it's been now, so
exactly right. And to be honest, his form over the last half of the season hasn't been that fantastic either. So am I ashamed to lose him? Yes. But we know we're going to get compensated really well for it. So that's one thing. West Coast Junior Rioli has requested a trade to Port Adelaide. Your thoughts, J-Dog?
Don't give up the farm for him, please. But happy to have someone like that in our forward. He's either have a great season or have a crappy season.
Well, the last small forward that you picked up was Horatio, and he's done absolutely zero.
Look, small forward. Can I make it work? Who knows? The upside is huge. The downside is he doesn't play football. Like, it's as simple as that for him. Yeah.
Okay, Mitch Georgiades. Georgiades. Is he a Perth boy?
He is.
He is. So that's why they're sort of getting that WA interest.
Yeah.
I'd love him at my club. I like the cut of his jib. He's still young.
Very young.
What do you think? Do you think you're going to lose him?
There is a good chance. And I actually don't know how I feel about Mitch Georgiades as a Port supporter. I think he actually probably...
Should we go back over the tapes?
I like him, But this season, I think that Todd Marshall is probably the more preferred forward moving forward over Mitch Georgiades, and I wouldn't have said that at the start of the season.
Yeah, he's Aaron Norton-like. That's the way I look at him. He's got
Without the marking ability. Without actually bringing the ball and holding the mark.
Yeah. But even if you went over to Perth, I don't know where their picks are.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure.
Well, they've got to send a couple to... One of the teams got to send a couple over to Melbourne.
Someone's got to have to do something. Apparently, Fremantle are looking at Ollie Henry. I don't know how they're going to look at Ollie Henry from the Pies if they're going all in on Jackson. They're going to have no picks left.
I'm surprised that
they're getting fewer 4 or 5 of their players, so it might come in that way.
I'm surprised that Ollie Henry has been offered up on the table from Collingwood. I really am.
He had a cracking month of footy, didn't he? Anzac Day game, he sort of set it apart. He did it a bit against Melbourne as well too.
Bit of spunk.
He has got a bit of spunk as well too. I just don't know where all that sort of coming from, J-Dog.
Well, I think probably the emergence of the likes of the Dacos, like Nick Dacos, like just...
Yeah, but Nick Dacos is a midfielder. He's not. He's a forward.
Yeah, I just don't think maybe they don't see him in the future.
Yeah, that's...
Maybe Elliott having a cracking last half of the season. I don't know.
He's only young. Yeah, I don't know. Got to remember, Michael Tuck played 100 games in Hawthorn's reserves.
Yeah.
99? 90? Yeah. Right, come on. Let's be honest. Kids these days want everything today, don't they? Tanner Bruin has nominated Geelong. Taranto was nominated Richmond. Hopper's nominated Richmond.
Yep.
Apparently Zach Williams is a little bit gettable. Keziah Pickett, whatever keeps coming up, I think you're dreaming on this one.
It's going to be easy.
Apparently you're saying he wants to go to Port Adelaide.
Bag of chips.
What would you give up? And don't say bag of chips, you dipstick. What would you give up, honestly, for him? And be genuine. We got him at pick 9.
It's probably going to have to be... something to do with the Carl Amon trade.
What?
As in the Carl Amon getting there, one of our first round picks, maybe get sent back to you guys plus something else. I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
There is no chance. You'd have to offer 2 first rounders for Pickett.
Oh, you call him Pickett just as high as Luke Jackson.
Hey,
typical.
They both went in the top 10.
You see,
hold on. You both got him in the top 10. So you're telling me that we just get back what we paid for him?
Well, you're getting back a first rounder.
What we paid. That's it. No.
Plus something else, maybe a little bit of sweeter. It's not going to be Georgiades. It's not going to be Georgiades.
Second rounder.
Something.
Get out of here, Jamie. So basically, you're saying all he's worth is a second rounder.
I'm getting a first round and something else. No, you may get a little player chucked in or something, but it's not going to be a good player.
Who would we take from your mob?
Any forward. Just pick any forward.
Todd Marshall. Now we can talk. Todd Marshall in a first rounder for Pickett. I'll take it.
Oh, dear.
Zach Williams apparently is on the market as well.
I don't believe
Carlton
this.
sort of throwing that one.
I don't believe that.
You reckon Carlton wouldn't be so gullible to go, yes, we got that one wrong?
I don't believe that they're putting Zach Williams on the market at all. Interesting one though, Peps. The biggest one. Mm-hmm. Is Collingwood really going to offload Grundy and pay a third of his salary?
Wouldn't be surprised.
$300,000 plus picking up the contract, the rest of it.
Yep.
That's a ballsy move.
And they're already doing, I think, 200 of Treloar's contract as well.
Treloar or Stevenson?
Treloar.
Yep. That would be interesting because most clubs would have someone like a Grody sitting in there. I'd love to have a Grody. A Grody.
A Grody? A Grody? He's a new player. Who's he play for? Grody.
I would love to have him sitting in Port Adelaide's jumpers.
Yeah. So it looks like he's going to come over to the D's. Jackson goes. The money that we were spending on Jackson will go to Grundy. Here's the thing, though. Is he worth a first rounder, though?
Grundy? Is he worth a first rounder?
So Collingwood are dumping him.
Mm-hmm. Probably not, because if you play hardball with that one, Collingwood, you sign the contract for 150 years at $700 million. If you don't want to play ball, you just deal with it. Take him.
You just stay with him. Yeah, okay, what do we... No, we want more, mate. We don't want to make a 400. Make a 4s. Then we'll think about it. But Yeah, if you get a Grundy for 600 and then have Gawn, I just don't think Gawn or either of them are forwards.
Mm.
I just don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
It's a bit of to me, it's a bit of I can see it working, but I can also see the other part of it as well too, which could be a little bit hard to see. Here's some other names for you.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Ngoe obviously hasn't signed a contract yet. Dan McStay and Darcy Gardner both out of contract at Brisbane at the moment, I believe.
What's this? Any story around that or nothing really?
Rory Lobb, Doggies, he bought his house in Melbourne, so he's probably definitely up.
Yeah, he won't.
Asava Radikalia, that's an interesting one because he's a big unit, can play centre half forward, can bring the ball to ground.
Can't kick.
Isaac Rankin, I'm really a bit peeved with that if I was Gold Coast for him going.
Adelaide, yeah.
Bobby Hill, he looks like he's out of there. Tom Green, apparently his name, couldn't get rid of Tom Green. Well, it sounds like GWS are going, we'll keep Green and we'll get rid of Taranto and Hopper.
Well, Hopper's going to Geelong so far, they reckon, because they missed out on Taranto.
No, aren't they both nominated Richmond?
Are they both nominated Richmond, have they? Okay.
Both wanting Richmond.
Yeah, right.
Jason Horne-Francis will be an interesting one. I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
No, not now.
Not now that thing goes there. Brad Hill, big dollars still to go with that. Hunter Clark is an interesting name that keeps coming up. From a West Coast junior. Josh Dunkley will be in Port Adelaide clothes next year.
Will be.
Is he an Adelaide boy?
His girlfriend, fiance, plays for the netball team, the Thunder.
The Adelaide
What are
Thunder.
they called? What are they called? Is that the Adelaide netball team?
I don't care. No one cares.
Peel, Thunder, Lightning.
Doesn't matter.
something. Crows, I don't know.
And Jason Johannesson hasn't been offered a contract, and he's getting some definite Gold Coast sniffage.
Norm Smith medalist.
Norm Smith medalist. But isn't it interesting? Like, as soon as a team finishes, bang, all this stuff comes out. It's going to be happening again next week. And if you remember, grand final day hits, then you've got, I think, a day's break, and everything kicks off on the Tuesday for the free agency trade period. And then it all kicks off the Monday after that. For
Bit of a goal. I mean, we're talking about next week, and Peps will actually be away next week. I'll be on location next week.
Where are you going next week, J-Dog?
I'm gonna be in Palm Cove
For school, for work, for
well, that's where we got married. And we're going up there. We've always spoken about going back up there after we got married there. And
how many years ago was that?
2017.
Yeah. How was the wedding, by the way?
No, it was great.
Yeah,
Anyway,
thanks for the invite. And yeah, and thanks for this invite as well. We could have done one both together at Palm Cove, but that's
we
all
could.
right.
So I'll be on location. So I could be margaritas deep.
Ooh, deep.
Or whiskey sours for the
interesting one to come out of it as well too. The Brownlow Medal will be this Sunday night.
It's a big move with the Queen passing away.
No, how selfish.
So we've got us Melburnians or us Victorians. We've got the Thursday is now being a public holiday. We've got the run into Friday for us grand finalists, and then we've got Saturday
and Sunday to recover. It's a
Sunday
bumper. There's a couple of rounds of golf I can see coming on the Thursday.
People are licking their lips thinking how they're going to plan this weekend.
Not if you're a contractor and getting paid by the day. For all the contractors out there.
So Brownlow on the Sunday, Peps.
Yep.
Sunday.
Who's going to take it out, J-Dog, in your eyes?
It's that red-headed clown from Melbourne.
Colliver? I think Colliver might be a big chance.
I saw the memes this week. It was pretty funny coming up and accepting his Brownlow with the patch over his eye.
Get out. He's played 6 seasons of footy and he's a 4-time All-Australian.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just talking about the fight in the middle of the ground.
You know he's going to be potentially going to be a 4-time best and fairest this year. He'll be a 4-time best and fairest after playing 6 seasons of footy.
Jared Berry also got off as well off the tribunal.
He didn't deserve a week. That was a bit of a joke. But I will say, it's funny. I don't know if you listen to the radio listeners over here. We have talkback stations. We have SEN radio, but then we have the talkback over Dwayne's World. The same people ring up every show and roll out the same call. And there's this one Collingwood nuffy who rings up and goes, if you have a look, he'd had his arm across his throat. And if you've had a 90-kilo man with an arm across his throat, like if you did that in a street, you'd be arrested. And then at midday you hear it, and then at night time you hear it, and then you hear it on the next day. It's like, mate, he had his arm across his neck. It wasn't choking him out. He wasn't chucking a sleeper hold on him. Like, Be a bit realistic. But I think it's going to be a cracking round of footy. 2 games of footy this week, Chad.
I know.
It's exciting. Justin Parker's on with us again tonight. He's going to be very, very happy. Do you know Geelong have played in 12 of the last 17 prelims?
It's incredible. Just the hate towards Geelong for being successful is crazy. I don't understand it. I'll never understand
I think that we just don't like them. They're like
incredible though. It's incredible.
They want a home final, but it only fits 25,000.
It'll get a home final when the new stadium's built.
Yeah, but you know what? If they get a home final, that's fine. But what if Geelong and Richmond play a final? You're telling me they're not going to play it down there?
I don't know the numbers of the capacity. What it'll be after that?
40, I think.
Maybe too low. Yeah. Okay. All right, Peps. Quickly, AFLW roundup.
Yes.
Over the weekend, Adelaide Crows played North. Adelaide Crows won by 14 points. Sydney played the Giants, Battle of the Bridge. The Giants absolutely crushed the Sydney Swans by 47 points. Geelong played Collingwood, rivalry round, and the game was won by 4 points by the Maggies. Brisbane Lions played the Gold Coast Suns. It was won by 73 points. So the Lions ladies absolutely destroyed the Suns on the Sunday. Port Adelaide and Carlton played their played and it was a drawn match. So that's Port Adelaide's first points of the season for a new club.
A draw. Do you reckon they celebrated that? They sing half the song?
Probably the same. St Kilda and Melbourne. Melbourne had a big win by 26 points over St Kilda.
It's like a hungy.
Richmond and Hawthorn. Richmond won by 35 points over the Hawks. And then finally, the West Coast Eagles versus Essendon. And the Essendon ladies had a big win by 52 points.
Now, Parko, there's no need to be like that because we're giving the AFLW a bit of airtime. We gave you airtime, and nobody put their hands to their mouth like yawn. All right.
Fastest growing AFL segment in Australia.
Fastest growing podcast is the Lace Out AFLW. That's just a snippet of what we could bring.
So round 3, round 4 is coming up this week.
Yep. Awesome stuff. Jamie, before we get into, obviously we'll try and catch up later in the week with the teams when they come out. We didn't do a tipped out segment last week because they didn't come. They came out at really weird times, and we got one game and they didn't bring out both. Next week it's going to be hopefully a bit better. Looking at the 2 games this week, your thoughts? Who's going to win?
Who's playing?
Geelong and Brisbane Friday night.
Yeah, that's going to be a Geelong game for me.
Yep.
Tick grand final at the 15th appearance in the last 17 years, wherever it's crazy.
I'll probably do it. Yep. And Collingwood and Sydney at Sydney.
I know Collingwood. I like the feels. I like the vibes.
What, the Marbo and the Serenity?
It's a good story. It's a good story.
Yeah, it is a good story. And for all the Collingwood listeners out there, we hope that you get to the grand final. And you get Dom sheeted again. Could you imagine if that happened? If it was Buddy's last
kick? Do you know what? I could see something like, for the game on the weekend, like Buddy's last... Yeah, okay.
Buddy's last kick.
That. But I could also see Jeremy Cameron in the grand final doing that to Collingwood.
Yeah.
Just Jezza from the boundary or something ridiculous.
Yeah, check side. Ooh, nah. Yeah. I don't know. Regardless, like I said, I'm happy for all teams. It's just a great time of year. But this is the people's round. It's the last time before the corporates take over. It's going to be a cracking round of footy, Joe. I can't wait for it.
2 or 3 of our shows to go for the season. Then we've got
3 to go. Next week, grand final 2 to go. Grand final preview, and then a recap after the grand final. Our thoughts, our feelings, and we might. We've got a bit of a plan to get a few of the few people to jump on and give an opinion. So if you want to be part of our final show, drop me a message on our DM. Slide into our DMs and say, we want to be on air on our final show for the year for your thoughts of the season. Drop us a message in the chat for this podcast or in the DMs, and we'll send you out an invite to join us for making you having your 38 seconds of fame here on Lace Out, because it's how you want your footy, everyone.
I love it.
All right, big boy. That is it. It's done. 2 games down, 3 games to go. Massive weekend. We've said it. All I can ask my friend is, How do you want your footy AFL final style, big boy?
I want it to lace out, Peps.
Beautiful. Jamie Wallis, thank you very, very much. Listeners, I'm Chris Pepper, the co-host with the most. Have a great evening. Hope your team wins. If they don't, it doesn't matter.
See you, listeners.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of Lace Out. Head over to iTunes and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And remember, join us every single Tuesday night on our Facebook page with yours truly, Christopher Pepper, and the co-host with the most, Jamie Wallace, giving you your footy how you want it. Lace Out.